While we're talking about big numbers, it's a smaller number than 900 million, but what about this number, 2,400? You know what that number represents? That number represents the number of files pertaining to the JFK assassination that have just been discovered by our federal government. We're 60 years now after the JFK assassination. Just now, we've just discovered. The FBI just must have looked behind a bookshelf or something, found 2,400 records tied to Kennedy's assassination that were never provided to the Assassination Review Board. This is according to Axios. So Trump, in his first term, was going to declassify the JFK assassination files. This follows decades of American official policy being the release of the JFK files. They were supposed to be released back in like 1992. And then the government just kept putting it off, saying, no, this would compromise national security. It would compromise sources and methods. It would compromise people who were still alive, blah, 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 blah. They kept kicking the can down the road for decades. Trump gets in there. He's a real shaker, mover and a shaker. He says he's going to do it, but even he doesn't release all of them. Second term, especially because he has Bobby Kennedy working for him now, he says, okay, we're going to do it. We're finally going to release all the records. And this is evidence that I guess maybe they will, since the FBI is now admitting, okay, well, actually, we do have thousands more records that people didn't even really know about. Why are people so fascinated with the assassination of JFK? People are really, they're not as fascinated with the assassination of Garfield, the president I was just talking about, or I don't know, McKinley, or I don't know, why him? Why Kennedy? Is it because he was a really good president? No, he wasn't. There's a modern mythology that's cropped up that Kennedy was this great president and he was shot down in his prime. Kennedy was not really a good president at all. I fail to see any evidence that he was even a competent president. He screwed up the Bay of Pigs. He invited the Cuban Missile Crisis because he didn't know how to manage Turkey. He presided over the construction of the Berlin Wall, which Khrushchev admitted he built because he knew that JFK was inexperienced and weak. So no, he wasn't president for that long, and he didn't do a good job while he was president. Why do people care so much? There's a good reason. There's a totally logical reason. The reason is because the JFK assassination coincides with almost precisely the moment that everything starts to go wrong in the country. that Americans start really deeply distrusting their institutions, that you have the Vietnam War, which Kennedy got us involved in, but the Vietnam War really starts to escalate. You had all the tumult of the 1960s, which was in part caused by, it was both a symptom and a cause of the JFK assassination. You had all of the racial strife in the 1960s. You had the advent of the not only the massive welfare state, but also a new system of racial discrimination that came up. You had the, not even just the racial strife, you had the sexual strife, radical feminism, you had the sexual revolution broadly. It just kind of all fell apart in the 60s, and we all know it. And it's represented by those wacko hippies who looked dirty and smelly and aimless, and that's kind of what our country became. Dirty and smelly and aimless. You know, we just didn't know. We didn't exercise proper order or anything like that. It was in the 60s. So I think we're focused on that because we realized something broke here. And whether the break was caused by the Kennedy assassination, I don't really think so, though it did lead people to distrust even further government institutions. But maybe it's just a coincidence. In any case, we recognize something went really wrong here. Maybe we need to revisit that era to see if we can get back on the right path. Oh, hey, man. Thanks for watching that clip. I hope you liked it. I trust that you did because you made it to the end here. So if you did, ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel, and then I'll see you next time in a situation much like this one.